Dr. Kevin Muss joins us now from Central DuPage Hospital, one of the finest hospitals in America. And he helped make it so with an incredible staff that he loves and takes care of, and they take care of him. Senior Vice President, Medical Affairs, Chief Medical Officer, Northwestern Medicine at CDH. So, Doc, how are you?
I am doing great. How about yourself?
We're doing fine. Yesterday, my brother Mickey was visiting, who loves you. We came over to have lunch with you at the hospital in the giant hospital cafeteria. And could you describe what Mickey chose for lunch?
Well, it's interesting. We have a great cafeteria. I mean, we're good. We're a really great hospital. Mm-hmm. We have great chefs there. So people think about hospital food being terrible. But yesterday we actually had a mac and cheese bar. And, boy, Mickey
Yummy.
went straight for the mac and cheese bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a mac and cheese bar.
And on top of that, he gets the mac and cheese. He can't decide what to put on it. What did he go with, Doc? Did he go with an entire pig?
He went with quite a bit of pork. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went with the cheese on top of the mac and cheese.
Right. He cheesed his mac and cheese. He then ate it.
With the banana, or with the
carrot cake.
Carrot cake, yeah.
Just lining his arteries with good stuff.
And he ate it like somebody was going to take it away from him. At one point, Doc had to call security, and security came over, and they tried to slap the fork out of his hand, and Mickey bit him, and they had to get a rabies shot.
Well, I only had like 30 minutes before my meeting, so we had lunch, and I told Mick, I said, you got to come back here, before the year's out. But I said, I can't afford to have lunch with you for an hour. So.
Right. Doc's got to take out a loan. All right, a couple of things. Jane, when we wrapped up last week, you brought up the hippocampus.
Yeah, because I like to think of the marvelous brain and all of its mysterious parts, and the hippocampus related to memory. But curious, Dr. Mose, what's the function of it? But how do we keep it healthy if it has to do with memory? And then does that lead into any of these types of diseases like Alzheimer's?
And by the way, Tom, see if we can get this segment sold. It's Hippocampus Corner.
Well, I'll tell you, the human body is amazing, and the brain is absolutely fascinating. So the hippocampus, a lot of people initially thought that it had a lot to do with smell, and that we were talking last week about sometimes the odors of things. But what actually the hippocampus is, it actually is our two things, main things, is one of our short-term memory, so we remember something, and then two, our spatial how do we get to a spatial place, so spatial navigation. So the way I explain it to people is it's the grocery list, right? You make the grocery list, you need it now, and how am I going to get to the grocery store? What it does then is it takes that information and puts it into the brain somewhere else that says, remember when I asked you to go to the grocery store in December of last year and you picked up the wrong XYZ? The brain still remembers things like that. So the hippocampus is for that short-term memory, and then it transfers the memories to long-term storage in our brain. So like you said, is it affected in Alzheimer's disease? Yes. In Alzheimer's disease, the hippocampus has massive cell loss, which is not unusual. A lot of people with Alzheimer's have very poor short-term memory, but still have some long-term memory. And as far as what you can do, can you exercise it? Absolutely. Try to learn something new. Do puzzles, do brain teasers, do memory games. If you have your phone, there's a great app called Luminosity, which, is a brain challenger. So you want to keep exercising that. And then from a health point of view, as far as what can I do to eat better for my hippocampus? Fish. And then here's the good ones, coffee and dark chocolate, as well as blueberries. The antioxidants in blueberries and some of the antioxidants in the other will help protect the hippocampus. So
look at that. Look at that. You learned all you need to know about the hippocampus.
It's so good. Well, because a lot of times the memory thing, I'm like, I don't remember what happened yesterday. And then I think, oh, my God, something is wrong with my hippocampus.
There should be a college that they have a hippocampus. And you would go to the hippocampus to learn about the brain. Huh? I'm thinking.
You're so smart.
Look, I'm telling her now. And hippopotamus would be allowed to attend.
Yes.
Yeah, on scholarship. Doc has put together a list of healthy gifts to buy for the people you love. So we're going to get to that in a second.
This.
But a texter chiming in with what I think is an important question. And the cool thing about the audience, Doc, is they bring up stuff that can apply to a lot of people. So here's the question. I'm 5 years into Parkinson's on meds. I've been reading about natural ways to help and maybe even get off the meds. I'm finding these programs some doctors offer for the low price of $3,000 for 8 weeks. Is it possible to go natural with the science we now know to get off the meds, or is this more snake oil?
I mean, I hate to say it's snake oil because I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but certainly I would say that it is most likely snake oil. We know how Parkinson's advanced. We know how it works in the brain and how it impacts the brain in the medications and the treatments that we use to help slow the advancements of Parkinson's. If there was a natural control out there that says, hey, you know what, take this goji berry and your Parkinson's is going to go away, believe me, the pharmaceutical companies would have bet on that, all over that. So I stick with the science. I stick with, hey, what are the medications, what are the treatments that are going to be used to slow Parkinson's, and look at the advancements that we're trying to make. You know, Michael J. Fox, obviously, you know, his foundation has put a lot of money into it and continues to. So I would say I would not go throwing $3,000 at a natural cure. I would probably stay with your neurologist who's an expert.
And certainly understand the desire to find something and find something quickly. But if you haven't done it, listener, michaeljfox.org, that's the foundation. They're doing amazing work. They really are.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, the advancements, you know, with medications, with deep brain stimulation, we've done a lot of things over the past, 10 years, and a lot of it is because of the Michael J. Fox Foundation. So certainly it's a disease that's frustrating. It's a disease that is very aggravating to people because it takes away a lot of their motor skills, and as they advance, they don't have the ability to do a lot of activities. They're embarrassed to go out sometimes. So certainly we're going to push for that. And I'll tell you, if there was a natural thing out there that could cure this, a lot of people would know about it by now if someone's trying to sell it already.
All right, healthy gifts. Healthy gifts. This isn't like when Doc ruined Thanksgiving. This is how you could get your Christmas shopping done today and buy stuff that folks really are going to, use to treat themselves better and make them better.
We're getting the list early so we can buy these things now leading up to the holiday.
Yeah, that's excellent. I can't wait to find out how to keep Mickey away from sugar. Mm-hmm. Some sort of, invisible fence system like they have for dogs in a yard. All right, Doc, healthy gifts is what we're talking about here. Let's go for the grandparents. What are we getting them?
Well, for the grandparents, really what you should look at is what are we trying to do for the health of grandparents, right? Is activity, strength, nutrition, balance. So those are probably the big things. Ease of daily living. So those are the things if we can do. So if you're on a low budget, if you're a kid and you want to get something for your grandparents, something as simple as resistance bands, which help build muscle strength, help with balance, help bone strength. So that's going to be something that a kid can give their grandparent, and you can get them for $10, $15, $20. So pretty easy. And then there's more, high-tech things. If the grandparent doesn't have an iWatch, it's a great thing. It looks at your heart rate. It can tell you to remind you to take your medications. It can remind you to stand up and move. It tracks your activity. So something, again, that we're looking at to say, how can we make our grandparents' lives better, and how can we help them from a healthy point of view instead of saying, here's another sweater for you.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I've heard people say this, you probably have as well, Doc and Jane and everybody. They go, well, I'd love to get my mom, my dad, whatever, an iWatch, but they're not tech savvy. They wouldn't know how to do it. The basic function of the watch, steps counters, the constant reading of your pulse, your blood pressure. I think an oximeter on these as well now. Yeah. That's a very simple thing to learn. So my point is, you got 300 cable channels, you watch 5. If your watch does 300 things and you use 5, it's still going to help, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, it's a great thing because my mom will go to my little nephew to say, "Hey, help me with my iPad." That's another interaction that is priceless. That that's something that you're not going to lose.
Two things I want to bring up for Grandma and Grandpa, and I love these. We were just talking about the brain and memory. The large print playing cards are a great idea. And then the Theragun massage gun. You see these, like your chiropractor has them, or you see them around the gym.
Oh, I've got one.
I have one too, and I just started using it on some of my leg muscles, and it really is a game changer.
It really is, Jane, and I like that you bring up the cards first. Seniors love to be active, and when the print on the cards gets so small that they feel embarrassed playing or they can't play cards, it takes something away. It takes an interaction with another senior away, it takes an interaction of playing games with the kids or the family, or takes them out of that activity. So that is something very inexpensive. And I do think the Theragun, and there's many companies that make it, I just happen to like Theragun because they make a mini one, so you don't have to spend $500 for the high-tech one. You can get one that's simply ergonomic, fits in your hand, has 3 different speeds, but they're great. And people use them before they exercise as well as after they exercise. And you can't afford to get a massage every time you need one. When you wake up and you have that low back pain, the Theragun's there. When you say, hey, I just want to get my blood flow better, the Theragun is there, or the percussion instrument, I should say, is there. So I think it's a great one, and I think that not only do parents love it, but it's something the entire family can use. So grandma can use it, kids can use it, parents can use it as well.
Miranda's got a question for you.
Yeah.
What's the best heating pad for someone that has severe back pain?
The best heating pad for back pain, Miranda, is to never use a heating pan for back pain.
No kidding.
Yes.
Explain why.
It's absolutely the worst thing you can do for many reasons. One of the biggest reasons is safety. You fall asleep with that, it can cause burns on your back. When people have back pain, it's often due to inflammation and it's due to muscle injury. Well, what do we do when we put heat on something? We increase the inflammation in that area. So although it may feel good, it actually slows down the healing process and slows down the recovery. So think about it. When you twist your ankle, you don't put a heating pad on it, right? What do? You put ice because we want to decrease that inflammation. The heating pad may feel good for a while, but actually causes more damage and can actually harm you. So people tell everybody, say, stay away from heating pads unless it's there just because you want to warm yourself up, and then it's called a blanket, but not a heating pad.
How important is a humidifier just for the bedroom? A lot of these whole house humidifiers don't get the job done.
Yeah, they don't. And we spend more time in our bedroom than we do anywhere else in the house, obviously, especially if we're out and around. So the biggest room that you want to look at is the bedroom, obviously. A couple things happen there. We breathe a lot through our nose and our mouth while we sleep, and we're not taking any liquids in, so it dries out. So it's really important to have great humidity in your bedroom. And a lot of these are humidity and air purifiers, so you're taking all those irritants out as well, which actually helps you with sleep, helps your skin, and really helps your breathing quite a bit.
And this one is one of my favorites. We talk about this every year. Doc loves mittens.
I love this mitten idea.
Not because he's immature.
No.
That's me.
Yeah.
You love mittens. Why?
I do, and people have to understand that the reason that gloves are not good for seniors, and gloves are really, if you're out in the cold, are not good, is each of the other fingers heats the other finger. So when they're in gloves, certainly you can use your hand a little bit easier. But mittens, 2 things. You can ball your hand up. The fingers are protecting each other. We're trying to protect you from getting frostbite. And I'll tell you, there's a company called Hands Out, which is a great company that makes these great, unbelievable mittens that still have a zipper on the back so that you can get your hand out if needed. But mittens are much safer, especially as we age, and the chance of frostbite goes up, and will certainly go up with gloves, and doesn't go up with mittens.
Hands Out, it's called?
Hands Out, yep.
And is that an online buyer? They have a store, or where do you get them?
Online, yeah.
Hands Out mittens.
I love a good mitten, and I was so happy to see this on the list. Can we move on to for mom?
Go.
So I love foam roller, and you have lots of reasons for the foam roller. I'm going to let you tell us why we need a foam roller, but I'm going to ask in there, doesn't it also reduce cellulite?
Well, people think about breaking down cellulite. If you remember those old, electric things with the band, and if you rubbed the band across you, you would get rid of your cellulite. It doesn't really go away that easily. But certainly if it helps you build muscle tone, that will help the cellulite go away. But to Miranda's point about what's the best heating pad for back pain, here it is. The foam roller is probably the best thing for back pain. So certainly it helps eliminate back pain, stress, anxiety. It's really good for your posture, and it's really good for you, especially for your low back. And everybody gets spasms and pain in their low back throughout their time in their life. And the foam rollers are very inexpensive, great to use. You can put it horizontally or vertically, so it really helps both your upper body as well as your lower back.
Some of the stuff for the grandma, it repeats for that as well. But you also mentioned in regards to staying active, whatever their sport is, support it. And pickleball obviously is a big part of that. But what about air fryers? Is that still a good idea?
Air fryer is a great idea. You know, when we look at how we cook foods right now and we look at the problems that we have with cholesterol and diabetes and obesity, you know, a lot of that is because of the way that we're preparing foods. The air fryer takes away that oil that you're going to put it in, takes away the butter you're going to cook it in, and actually is great. I mean, if you don't have an air fryer, you should really seriously consider getting one. And it's a great way to warm things up as well. So if you want to make great French fries, you can make it in there without the oil, and really is a healthy way to eat, an easy way to eat.
We're going to pick up some of the respiratory discussion for next week, but give us a wrap on this with some kid ideas.
You know, I think for kids, you know, what we're seeing in kids is, believe it or not, we're seeing increased blood pressure, increased diabetes, increased obesity. And why is it? It's because of the sedentary lifestyle that we are seeing more and more kids. So try to stay away from giving them the newest video game and try to get them into doing something that's going to be outside, that's going to be either team-related or activity-related. And then also something as simple as a garden kit. Let them learn how to grow vegetables, the importance of vegetables.
Yeah, little kids love that in particular.
Yeah, they love seeing it start to grow. And you can have ones that grow in the kitchen with a light, and the kids get fascinated by, boy, I planted a seed, and look what's going. And the next thing you know, it's being planted in their garden outside.
Yeah, think about outside of changing the locks to lock the kids out like they did to us in the 70s, Doc.
Right.
Something that gets your kids outside and keeps them active. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Miranda, when do we post this list?
In about 10 minutes.
All right, it'll be up there with Doc's podcast of this, and you'll be able to hear it, and you'll be able to see all the notes, including the stuff we didn't get to. Mm-hmm. So, all right, Doc, I'll see you on the quad at the hippocampus.
You got it, guys.
Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, buddy.
You're
there
welcome.
you go.
Really good.
Yeah.
There was a weighted blanket was on there, so we always like to call that an emotional support blanket. It promotes relaxation, lowers your stress. That's a good one.
You know, these fashionable wearable blankets, do you have one of those?
I don't have. They have a vest that you can wear for the relaxation, lowers anxiety. They usually have that for kids, but blanket, you know, it's just a little bit heavier, and you could just lay underneath it in your bed or on the couch, and it really does help.
What's that compression thing they have for dogs? For
Thundershirt.
Thundershirt. They make that in a double X for me. Thundershirt. All right.
No.
Apparently that was a lightning strike near me.